Welcome to Talking with the Source, where we bring on well-known and local researchers from around the world to share their experiences and evidence.
Who knows that the moon missions were faked?
As soon as I said, I'll meet you, and she said, oh, darn it, I gotta check the door, make sure the door's locked, because I don't want to leave John's house unlocked. So she goes back to check the door. I go out to my vehicle, and I hear this god-awful scream.
Well, there are 63 races of grays. So most people only think there's one race. And when you say grays, it's a misinformation. There are 63 races. Out of those, one race is a negative extraterrestrial. And what I do is I group them in the negative and the positive. The positive wish to see humanity ascend.
What is your name? My name is Anthony.
Are you ready to unravel the mysteries of this podcast? Join us only on Talking with the Source, live every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and on all podcast listening platforms.
What's going on, everybody? This is AJ Capasso here from Talking with the Source. I'm here with my girlfriend and host, Tammy. What is up, sweetheart? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I thought you froze for a
Sick
second.
of the snow already?
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, I'm
Right?
here.
The snow sucks, doesn't it?
Oh my god. And we're supposed to get like 10 inches.
I feel you on that. I'm not looking forward to it at all, at all. And I can't imagine what you guys are getting because you're more farther north than I am. So it's
Yeah.
not don't even want to think about it. But anyway, on better news, we have an amazing guest today coming on. We want to give a shout out to our other hosts. We want to give a shout out to Chris. We want to give a shout out to Jonathan, Steve-O, and Robin, who hasn't been on in a long time. We're hoping that with the 2025 year, we're going to have everybody back on and get this whole thing rolling for once, having everybody on. But we want to give a shout out to them and hope that everyone's doing all right and their families are doing well. And I want to bring forward our guest from Windy City Paranormal, Ed Kielhack. So give me 1 second. Ed, I hope I didn't butcher your last name, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir.
I didn't butcher the last name, did I?
No. Actually, you got it right. So you're better
Yes.
than 90% of the people.
Yes, that's awesome to know because normally I'm the person who destroys everyone's name. So this is perfect.
Yeah, no,
So,
you're fine. You got it right. So we're all good.
cool. So like I was asking you back, how is the team? How's Windy City doing?
We're doing good. And like I said before we went on, I tried to have some of them here with me today, and I guess I didn't get the message out quick enough. But
Yeah.
next time maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we'll definitely reschedule and have another time when you guys are on, and we'll have everyone on because I've been dying to have the whole team on for sure.
Yeah. Well, anybody who owns a team, who has a team, knows, people have issues.
Yep.
And, they don't spend a lot of time online, like some other people. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get the message or whatever. They're dealing with things that's going on in their lives.
Absolutely. Well, my prayers go out to them. I hope everything is all right with them and their families, and I hope to see them soon for sure.
Yep. The last time I checked, everything was fine. There were some people who had some issues, but they themselves were doing great.
Good to hear. All right, sweetheart. Well, I'm gonna let you take this off. You get the first question.
So I don't know much about your team, but how long have you been in the field?
We've existed as a team since 2008, and
Oh wow.
me and the co-founder, his name is Vinny, broke off from the group we were in. We were in DuPage Paranormal Society, and it just didn't work out for a variety of reasons. We broke off and started Windy City Paranormal.
Nice.
And I started out at the bottom of the group, just as an investigator. You know, I didn't really have any other responsibilities or anything. And then eventually, through necessity or necessity or whatever, I climbed up, and eventually, in 2015, I believe it was, Vinny said, "Hey, I need to spend more time with my family, and there's things I want to do there and achieve." So he handed me the keys, and then it became, I was now running the show.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we had some members leave the group for the very same reason. They want to spend time with their family. So I retooled the group with a new team, new members, and then we had probably a very strong run. We were averaging probably 2 to 3 cases a month.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
and then COVID hit, so that put a nice big monkey wrench in like everything. And we still haven't really recovered from that. So I'm using this pause right now, streamline the group, find out, eventually, we'll probably have a big meeting, mandatory meeting saying, if you still want to be part of us, come on out, and then see where I'm at from there. And then if I have to recruit some more, I will.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of stuff that I'm working on, actually. We streamlined the group in terms to equipment. We had an 8-camera DVR system. Anybody knows anything about a DVR camera system? That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of weight, just bulk, size of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cords for the 8 cameras alone, we had probably about 500 feet of cord for every camera.
Yeah.
And it was in a box with wheels on it. And when we did Waverly Hills in 2018, that was a learning experience. I said, we can't lug this thing around. So I says, I got to find something else. So that started the process of learning. We had to streamline our processes in terms to equipment and whatnot. And now it's that pretty much is done. I've got that done. As a matter of fact, I got a couple samples here. I'll show you in a little bit of what the type of equipment we use compared to the DVR system. And then that's it. We had a very solid reputation here in the Chicago area, and like I say, 2 to 3 cases a month we were doing. And our major pay-to-play investigation was Waverly Hills, and that was a blast. But it was a learning experience too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That place has been a dream of mine so much to go there. So I completely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to go back there. I have a bucket list of places I want to go. Villisca, Axmer. Oops, we lost somebody here.
Yeah, there's it's snowing right now pretty hard, so we're
Oh,
getting kind of piled up, especially where she is. So I don't know if we're gonna lose her or not.
okay. Well, let me see what the temperature is here. I haven't even been outside since I woke up. It's 5 degrees.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah,
sounds like fun.
yeah. Well, I work out. I work nights, and it was cold last night.
Oh,
So
I can imagine. I can only imagine. 5 degrees is not a joke. That's for sure.
yeah, that temperature just went down to 4.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, so we've been in existence since 2008. Um, what are some other things I can say? It was 7 people in the group, and we've got a bunch of other part-time members that if they want to be in an investigation, they can do so.
Yep.
And Vinny, the co-founder, is one of them, but he's out of the country. He works in the airline industry. He gets to travel all over the world. Lucky guy. And uh, so that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. That's great. I mean, I tell you, I remember from our last time talking, I remember you telling me some of that stuff as well, and it was good to have a refresher real quick to refresh my mind of what we talked about last time. But here she is. She's here. She's just back in now. Yep. Told you. Hey,
All right.
nope, we figured that was gonna happen. So,
There it goes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think my
but
headset.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, we're yeah. When we talked last time, if I remember correctly, I mean, I submitted some of the evidence that we had collected. Nothing's really changed there. We haven't got
yep.
anything different. The latest piece of evidence was that shadow figure picture that was taken in Fulton Market area. That was actually on my job. There wasn't a paranormal investigation at all.
Oh wow,
We got a picture of a shadow figure in a
I
group of,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah, that is great. I wish I had a computer because I would have showed it again this time, but I don't have a computer at the moment. I'm off a cell phone myself, so
Yeah.
I feel your pain, my friend.
So, but yeah, so when we founded the group, we wanted to present ourselves in a certain way and do things in a certain way. Me and Vinny both agreed. For instance, we don't charge for an investigation.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great.
And people are always amazed. One of the things we got on all our investigations, you guys own all this equipment? I said, yeah, we pay for that out of our own pocket.
Yeah,
Oh man, you know. And
yeah.
I had one lady on a investigation in Barrington. She insisted on giving us money. I said, ma'am, we don't charge. And she insisted, insisted, and insisted. So finally, I said, I'm going to end the conversation. I said, oh, you know, we can use a full set of full spectrum CCTV cameras. She puts out her smartphone and starts Googling it and saw the price. Well, maybe not that much.
Yeah, right.
That was the end of the conversation. But we've had some pretty interesting, very interesting cases.
Yeah,
And before COVID, you know, when we were hitting all cylinders.
yep. Definitely. Have you got any new piece of equipment since then?
Sure. As a matter of fact, this right here.
Okay.
This is, believe it or not,
The body cam?
it's a body cam.
Yeah.
It
Nice.
has infrared capability and audio all in
Wow.
one unit.
Wow.
That's
So you
nice.
can plug it in, download it to your computer, and you can review any evidence you have and whatnot. And this is what we're going to. This is what I ended up with. And I'm
It's
looking
smart. That's
to
a
see
smart
if
move.
I'm looking to maybe to see if it'll be able to be customized for full spectrum.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. I didn't even know they come infrared now.
Yeah, no, this is infrared. This right here costs about $160 per unit.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It comes with the charger and comes with everything you need to charge it and everything. Everything's inside, and it has a screen right here, so you can you could also put this on like a pedestal or a tripod.
Yeah,
Oh,
a tripod.
nice.
Yeah.
So my plan is to go ahead and get about 6 more of these or so, 6 or 7, and then just boom, place it. We're ready to investigate. Turn it on, set the record, set the sound. It'll have the audio and the video all in one unit.
A lot easier than a DVR.
Oh yeah, much better than DVR.
Right.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
I've streamlined the group, or I've streamlined our equipment, and then of course people have their own personal stuff. And I have my personal stuff, and then there's the group stuff. Matter of fact, if you see that box behind me on the shelf there, that
Mhm.
dark gray box, that's just batteries
Oh, wow.
and our
Wow.
digital audio recorders. And then I have a smaller bag I've got my EMF detector. I got a digital camera. I have a full spectrum digital camera. I've got ultra high definition handheld video camera and a bunch of other.
Nice.
Yeah. So
You got the full package.
yeah, exactly. We throw everything at our investigations. Oh, and I also have a thermal cam. I forgot.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
handheld thermal cam.
Those are not cheap at all. I'll tell you that.
No,
No.
my wife bought it for me for Christmas. So
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
nice.
that's a great Christmas present.
yeah, and then tomorrow's my birthday, so
Happy
Happy
early
birthday. Yeah.
gonna be 60 years old. I can't believe it.
Oh
Wow.
my
That's
gosh. You
amazing.
don't look anything. I hope I look as
Mhm.
half as good as you at 60. My God.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's all right. But so we streamlined everything. Now we're just waiting for the effects of COVID and everything like that to wear off. A lot of people are working from home, so there's not. Our forte was home investigations, and
Yep.
we had a service. It doesn't exist anymore for some reason. It was paranormalsocieties.com, and if you needed a paranormal team, they'd hook you up with a paranormal team. You could ask for help if you needed an investigation, and they would email me our cases.
Oh wow.
And so now it's all word of mouth. It's going to be when we get active again, which I'm hoping to do this year. It's going to be pay to play investigations,
Oh,
and
nice.
one of the places I definitely want to go to, especially with this new equipment, give it a good field test. Although I've tested this at work, and it works fine. But
Yeah, that.
I've never tested it in the paranormal field.
Wow.
So,
Well, that should
So
be
what?
interesting to test that in the paranormal field. Sorry, sweetheart. Go ahead and ask what you're gonna
uh,
ask.
What is your actual What is your favorite piece of equipment to use?
uh, I don't really have. I mean, that's a hard question to answer because I like them. I like gadgets. Period.
Nice.
Hmm.
I would I would have to say maybe if I had to choose just one, the thermal cam is
Nice.
definitely.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that when we get back up and running and everything like that, and we start getting a whole boatload of cases and stuff, I think that might be that in my opinion has the greatest potential to get us some evidence. You know.
Definitely. Definitely. That is great. I mean, now tell me with I know it's been since a little while, obviously, since you guys had a chance to really get out there. Do you have stuff lined up for the future that you're getting ready to do that you can sneak peek us with? Like, tell us a little bit about what you got lined up.
Well, right now, like I say, the first phase was streamlining our equipment. The
Yep.
next phase is I'm gonna try and get our original website back. We had a website, and we were getting compliments on how it was designed and everything, because it was like black, red, blue, really a radical design. We were getting people saying, "Man, this is like the best website I've ever seen," and
Yeah.
it had a forum in it and a button you could press, and it would automatically email us if you needed help or whatever.
Yep.
And we would get some cases that way. We got one major case that way. But with COVID, it was just too expensive to maintain. So I let it lapse. So I got to
Yep.
contact the company, get them to restore it, and then make improvements. I've never built a website before. Even though I love computers, I build computers as a hobby, but I've never built a website, and certainly nothing to that degree. So, and that's going to be expensive. So,
Yeah.
my timeline to start that would probably be sometime in April
Okay.
and get that going. And then once we get the website up, then it's a matter of getting cases and getting our name out there.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Well, I look forward to hearing all about these new adventures soon with the team. That's going to be great to hear.
Absolutely.
So, but
So,
the major case we got, we had a fire chief in one of the suburbs here. He had a firehouse that was alleged. It had a reputation for being haunted. And that was a particularly long investigation. We did one part of it. It was a 1 month long.
Oh wow.
wow.
Yeah. We were able to debunk everything on that case.
That's awesome.
And but one part, what I did is I set the DVR system up in the firehouse, and we pointed the cameras at each of the doors, because one of the claims was the doors would open by themselves.
Mm.
And we let it run for a month. Now the DVR
Wow.
system had like a 2 terabyte hard drive, so you can get them
Yeah.
all. And it took us forever to sit there and review that evidence, and nothing happened. You know, if somebody walked through the door, we saw that, but the doors never opened themselves. And
Wow.
some other claims they had there was one of the firemen was in the break room, and he heard a dog growling. There hasn't been a dog in that firehouse since the 1970s. We found out what that was. The firehouse was situated near a heavily forested area. And they got wild dogs. People's dogs get out, whatnot.
Yeah.
And we caught on audio a dog getting into a fight. And evidently he was losing because it was yelping and crying and everything else. But the walls were so thin on this firehouse. The digital audio recorder that we had in this room caught the recording from outside, but it sounded like it was in the room.
Wow.
So when I went to evidence review and everything, and I was explaining it to this fire chief, I said, go outside. And I want you in a normal talking voice. Now, the windows were closed, and I was inside the firehouse, inside
Yep.
the room. And I says, I'll bet you I can repeat to you what you said. So he went outside, and he counted to like 10, and he said some other words. And then he came in, and I told him exactly what he said. He says, you actually heard that? I said, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was standing in the middle of the room.
See, I think that's so important what you just did because, you know, a lot of people will go into an investigation and automatically everything is paranormal to them. I really I'm very at heart a skeptic. I was a skeptic before I got into this field. And I'm still, I mean, I'm less a skeptic now, obviously, because I believe because of stuff that I've seen. But the part of me still is, I'm skeptic all the time. And, you know, that's so great that you went in, you spent a month, and you really debunked and got down to every single aspect of that investigation.
Yeah.
It shows that you're thorough.
You have to be skeptical. You can't
Yeah.
just walk in and everything that happens, whether it be odd or unusual, say, okay, this place is haunted. You
Right.
just do that. You've got to
Yeah.
say, and 85% of everything that we investigate, and I'm sure other groups and people who do this stuff and have done it for any great length of time would agree with me that that's pretty accurate. 85% of everything that you investigate comes out to be totally naturally occurring, or just misperceived what was going on. Okay.
Yep.
And that's the bulk. I mean, we go in to disprove a haunting, not to prove one.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have evidence left over that cannot be naturally explained, cannot be recreated by any natural means, well, there's your evidence for paranormal.
Right.
And that's how me and Vinny said we're going to run it, and that's how I've run it since I took over.
Yep.
I think it's great that you also said that you do like an extended period of time for the investigation too, because that really like puts like a time frame to prove that, you know, these events are either occurring or not.
Right. Well, a lot of people, they watch the TV shows and they think that because
One day.
it's presented in the show, you walk in and things are flying everywhere and shadows are darting all over the place. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
I would
Absolutely.
venture to say, from the research I've done and from what I've been told, every TV show that is out there spends at least 3 days at a location in one episode. So that's a lot of filming and a lot of editing and everything like that. So we go in and we'll spend as much time as necessary to get the answers.
I like that.
And I figured, in a month's time, if we couldn't see a door opening by itself, then it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And it didn't. So we were not able to experience that.
You know, it also makes you wonder too, like on a playing devil's advocate here, it always makes you wonder too, like, can they tell what we're doing? Like, oh, we're setting up a camera to try and catch you, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, well, we'll just walk through the door instead of opening the door for the next month. You know what I mean? Just to be a pain in the butt. Because I
Well,
would do that.
the way I positioned the cameras, if anybody tried to do it, because they were like glass, aluminum edged doors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that wouldn't work because we could see on both sides of the door. And
Wow.
when somebody did walk, because at the time this wasn't a functioning firehouse. They had built an additional one. And that's why we were allowed to come in on this one because there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And if they tried that, we would have caught them.
Yeah.
Because you could see right through the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And never happened. Never happened.
Wow.
A whole month's worth of footage.
Wow.
They were very, very, very impressed with what I says, we weren't able to get anything paranormal really, but we have some explanations. This is some of the things that you've experienced, and
Yeah.
word of mouth, and it takes on a life of its own.
Right.
Next thing, you've got a haunted firehouse.
Yeah.
And if you're sleeping in the middle of the night and you hear something, your mind starts to work to try and figure out what it is. And,
Yeah.
you start to think, hey, there's some stuff going on here, but you didn't actually see it.
Right.
Yeah.
And depending on the condition that occurs, you can sit there and think, oh, wow, we got a ghost dog in here, or somebody's
Mhm.
opened the doors, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important that you have to do a thorough investigation like you do. And I think it's great that you guys spend the time needed to do such a thing because, like a lot of teams, we only get, 1 day inside the location, or we can only afford that 1 day inside the location at certain places. So it's nice that you got the given the time and the leeway to go in and really take your time with this investigation.
Oh, yeah. And then, there's been other cases we only went in once,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we were able to figure it out. In another case, I think I discussed it last time I was on,
Yeah, I believe.
with it was a 7-year-old boy. His mother would get up in the morning and find out that he was missing from his bed. Now, he lived in this apartment complex, and he was down in the basement
Yeah.
playing. And he says his friend, he referred to him as the man, came and said, let's go downstairs in the basement to play. Now, as a parent, that would just send shivers through your
Oh,
spine.
absolutely. Terrifying.
So we went in there because there's a child involved.
Yeah.
But we weren't getting anything paranormal. But one thing I noticed, one of the things we do at the start of our investigation is we measure the electromagnetic
Yeah.
levels in all the rooms. So if something
Yeah.
spikes, we know what it was. So, we'll focus our attention there.
Yep.
Well, he had a projector that was built into the base of his bed that would shine a moving lighted scene on the wall, to lull. That was throwing out incredible amounts of electromagnetic energy. And they also had an alarm clock, which was at the head of the bed. And that was throwing it out. So we did our investigation, and we didn't find anything paranormal at all. We did nothing. No EVPs, nothing on video, no
Yeah.
experiences. One of the things that groups should really be up on is science.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I also went down into the basement, and there was one area of the basement that was, again, burying the needle on the EMF detector.
So
Because
creating
Yeah.
a fear cage.
there was an electrical panel on the other side of that wall. And so I asked the mother, I says, I'm starting to formulate a theory here. I says, when you find your son, do you like all over the basement? Or can you tell me what area you find him in? And she pointed right to the area that was super high in electromagnetic energy.
Wow.
Well, what it turned out to be, I says, you know what? I have a theory, and if I'm right, your problem stops tonight. She goes, what is it? I says, unplug that projector. And I said, take the alarm clock and put it at the other end of the room on the dresser. Get it as far away from the bed as possible. So I called her a week after we went in, and I said, have there been any incidents of him going down to the basement? She goes, no, it ended that night. So then I got my theory. I says, there is no man. Your son has some sort of sensitivity to EMF energy.
Yeah.
Your brain is more active when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
He was sleepwalking into the basement, and from his perspective, he saw this man, and he was playing in the basement with him.
Right.
And it stopped that night.
Wow.
That's amazing that you figured that out.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
most
it is.
people look at the EMF.
When I had my first personal experience in the paranormal, that's what got me into this. That was way back in 1981. I did years and years of research. No investigation, just research.
Yep.
Because I wanted to find out if people had similar experiences. What I had turned out to be a poltergeist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a very intense introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so.
So to make a long story short, I didn't join my first group until 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all that time, I was reading everything. Books on people who had paranormal experiences or, things of that nature. And then, of course, when ghost hunters hit the scene,
Yeah.
Yep.
I had actually thought of the idea. I didn't think of it to the level that they did. I would have beaten them by like 10 years if I was able to actualize that dream. But my idea was just a bunch of guys like reporters. They'd have cameras or whatever, and they would go and investigate
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I thought that would be too expensive, and I quickly just focused on the research and everything that I was doing.
Yeah.
But I was well versed through my research on the paranormal, but prior to that, I was well versed in science.
Nice.
I took science every year I was in school. I loved it. Astronomy mostly, but biology, chemistry, paleontology, meteorology, all of it. I took all of it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you remember this from your high school days, but I graduated in 1984. And when I was a junior, they popped this test on us. And my understanding was that everyone across the United States who was in a science class took this test. So I started answering questions and everything like that. And about 2 weeks later, the teacher pulls me aside and he says, congratulations. I go, for what? He goes, remember that test you took? I said, yeah. He goes, you tested in the top 15%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, congrats.
Certificate and everything like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that is awesome.
The first two books I ever picked up was a science book and the Bible.
Oh, wow.
And
two opposites, like, sides of the spectrum too, which I love.
Yeah.
I love it.
When you're dealing with what we're dealing with and what we think it is, religion comes into it, and so does science.
Oh, absolutely.
It does. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But in most people's eyes, it'd be two opposite sides of the spectrum coming together. I love it.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Exactly. And I was tested as a small boy. And I didn't understand quite what was going on. I was 4 years old at the time. And I guess one of my teachers said, this guy's got some abilities here. So they told my mom to bring me to this doctor. And he tested me on my comprehension and things of that nature. And at the age of 4, I was reading and comprehending and could talk to you about my understanding of second year college level material.
Wow.
That was at age 4.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I used to love to read, before computers and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's really young at 4. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I thought I was in trouble, actually, because I didn't understand what was going on. And, he gave me something to read. He says, "Do you understand that?" I said, "Yeah." And I told him in my own words what it meant, from my perspective.
Wow.
And he goes, "Okay, can you wait outside in a minute?" And he called my mother and explained it to her. And then they called me back in, and there was a big plate of cookies and milk. So I knew I wasn't in trouble. But yeah, I was very, very introverted as a child. So
hey, that's all right.
What's this, But yeah, so you've got to be well versed in science, especially, and you got to be skeptical. You can't just walk in and say, "Okay, we have something strange going. Your place is haunted."
Yeah.
Right.
There's been lots of people I've told it's not haunted. We were able to recreate what they were seeing and explain what it was. And the relief was great. That's how you know these people are for real. Please don't think I'm crazy, but I think my house is haunted. That type of
thing. Yeah.
And that's what I when I decided what I wanted, one of the things I wanted to be an astronaut. Okay?
Nice. Good goals.
Yeah. And that didn't work out. So I was like, what am I going to do with all this science stuff? Well, it serves me very well, obviously, in the paranormal world, but it also serves me very well in my profession, which is security.
Oh, wow.
I help run a security company out here in Chicago. I'm a lieutenant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so knowledge of science helps you in investigations there, too.
Right.
So
that's great.
My advice to all the groups and everything like that, get versed on your science, the theories, and the actual proven stuff that's out there. That'll do you very, very well.
Have you seen recently, Ed, about the quantum teleporting that they did through I think it was through like the internet or whatever, but there was a breakthrough in quantum physics where they were able to teleport 2 particles. And I forget the whole thing, so I don't want to say it wrong, but I'll send you the article on it. It's pretty amazing to read.
I think I vaguely remember but sometimes you see stuff like that on the internet, and you're like, that's just too good to be true.
Yeah, true.
I'm very slow to grab onto a new theory. Again, that's skepticism that I have.
Right.
But that's good.
Yeah. So eventually, I mean, if it's real, it's going to gain a life of its own. And then I'll hop on board and say, okay, what's this about? And try to, but I do seem to remember something on those lines. I don't know what it was. They teleported or whatever. But yeah, that would be great,
Right?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
The thing is that a lot of people need to understand, 500 years ago, we didn't know what comets were.
Yeah.
And because people dedicated their time, their efforts, their money, their abilities, we now know what comets are.
Right.
Yeah.
The paranormal is the same way.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about the paranormal is one way or the other, we're all going to find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're all going to
Yep.
die.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, to me, at the very least, it's like, let's see how close I can get to the truth.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
That's what it's about for me. Because, when I decided what I was going to do with all this knowledge, I thought, well, I could sit out in the backyard with a telescope looking for comets to put my name on.
Yeah.
Help my mosquitoes are freezing my butt off. Or I could use it to help people, and that's what I chose.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's a great way.
So,
Go ahead, Tammy.
Oh no, I just think it's great. I mean, I like the way you look at things from the scientific perspective. Not everybody does that, and it's definitely more needed in this field.
yes.
Yeah.
My humble opinion, paranormal groups shouldn't do certain things. It does a disservice. And I've seen some of the evidence that people have put out, and you're like,
Yeah.
what in the world is that? That's nothing. I said, we've like I said, we've been in existence since 2008, and we have maybe 7 or 8 solid pieces that we consider solid evidence that has stood the test of time. Other people that come up with hundreds and thousands of pieces of nothing. And that's the thing is it's your reputation. So you have to be very, very particular.
Yeah, you have to be picky. You have to be, especially if you want to, have a name.
Like that picture of a shadow, there's people out there, they're skeptical to a fault.
Yeah.
You want to avoid extremes. You don't want to be so gullible as to accept everything as evidence, but you also don't want to be skeptical to a point where you could have a real solid piece of evidence in front of your face and you're like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
And I had that shadow figure picture, and I had somebody argue with me, and I was like, okay, well, if you want to believe that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's a shadow figure. I examined it every which way you could and put it before other people. Oh, yeah, that's a solid shadow figure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, given
that's not paranormal at all.
Given the level of effort that you put into your investigations, you know what you're looking for.
Right.
So you're able to go, that's a shadow figure for sure.
You see some of these, it's done in the paranormal shows mostly, but you also see it with paranormal groups as orbs.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah. Here I'm gonna prove my point. Okay, here's an experiment you could try. If you have an infrared camera, set it up in a room that has a couch in it. Turn it on so it's recording. And then sit down on that couch. Watch the orbs appear.
Yeah.
Because you sit down, there's air trapped in the cushions. It throws out the dust into the air, and then the wind currents in the room just take over from there. There's your orbs.
Yeah.
Now, however, with that being said, if I see something that's acting totally independent of anything else in the environment, and maybe emitting its own light, then that's something I'd give a second look to.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's dust, blood, or some other particulate in the air.
Yeah.
Right.
But I like what you said, though. I like how you said that, if it gives off its own light or it has its own directional, pattern, because that's something that I definitely look for every single time in a orb or a light anomaly, whatever you want to call it, because of the reason, like not everything is dust or a bug. There is instances where there is that, but 99% of the time, yes, it is dust and it is something along the lines of that or bugs or something. And we are misrepresenting what it really is. And it needs to have more than one look to it. But when you do catch that one anomaly that gives off its own light, like when we were in Montana State Prison, me and John, we had this thing that sparkled in the middle of the dark on the wall, and you could see it on the infrared, and it literally just emits its own sparkle and light. There was nothing on the wall that had reflection. We looked all through it, and it just literally like was like a burst of light that just kept coming. It was crazy. It was amazing to see. So like I totally understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, these are the things you got to look at. It takes, like I said, a lot of work. They don't tell you that on the paranormal shows.
No.
Yeah, no.
How much work goes on behind the scenes,
Right.
and you got to be dedicated to it, you know. And if you don't do it right, you're gonna come up with a bunch of useless evidence, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were real as a group. I drive people nuts because I say, okay, that looks interesting, but we got to put it through the shredder, so to speak.
Yeah.
Tried to sit there and disprove it, and I drive people nuts. So what's it going to take, you know? But every once in a while, you get that one piece of evidence, and you say, I can't explain that.
Right.
For me,
Yeah.
then it becomes official Windy City Paranormal evidence. Then there's a period of time where we expose it to everybody else.
Yep.
And if it stands the test of time on that, you got some good evidence there.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
You know, you got a lot of new emerging technologies. I mean, full spectrum is one.
Yeah.
Relatively new. You got to be careful with that. That's subject to lens flare, the equivalent to full spectrum lens flare. And what I discovered was that if it's reflecting directly at you, it takes on a 3D dimension, and you can think you got something floating in free space. It's not. It's lens flare. And I have a picture of that I use to illustrate that very phenomenon. It looks like a face.
Yeah.
Like going right past the camera.
Yeah.
But you look in the background, you can see where the light is reflecting back.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like the oily fingerprints on a mirror. You know, you think you see a face in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so we go through all of that. You got to be very, very, very careful.
Mm-hmm.
That is smart. That is smart. You know, I can't believe that almost an hour has went by already, man. And it's been like I feel like we barely even touched the surface every time you come on. I gotta have you come on like 30 times because we can't even get through the whole thing, man. You know, I tell you. So
this is a joy for me too. I mean, it's great to discuss these things. I think more people need to discuss these things.
Absolutely.
So get a good understanding of what's going on and, you know, the direction that we need to take this thing.
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, listen, let's get together again and let's get your team on. Talk to your team. We'll set up a good day for everybody, and then we'll get them on, and we'll all have a great conversation about it. And we'll go a little longer than an hour, so we can really dive into things because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about science-wise, about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, certain things like that I want to dive into that I want to ask you. So we'll definitely make a schedule, make a date to have you come back on and do that for sure.
Awesome. I'll be here.
All right, great. Well, Ed, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We really appreciate your time, my friend. Until next time, we love you and we hope everything is doing well. Please tell the family we love you, and we hope to see you soon.
You got it,
It was
guys.
nice to meet you.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
So, wow. So tell me, Tammy, what did you think so far? I mean, that was only scratching the surface. You didn't get to see the first episode with him when we really
I
went in
did,
depth
but
and stuff.
I'm definitely gonna check it out though.
Yeah,
So I think that I love the way that they're doing things with that team. The way that they're actually going in with the scientific and skeptical mind to like debunk things, which is so different than a lot of people do, and it's more needed
hmm
in the field.
yeah. No, definitely, I agree with that 100%. You know, he has a very intriguing mind where he likes to go in depth with things with science and stuff, and that's what I love about Ed, because that's totally down my alleyway, 110%.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like to hear him talk about it and to hear him debunk the things the way he debunks, I just like love it as a team because it's like a lot of people don't get to spend a lot of time like that to do such things or even take the care to spend the time to
Yeah,
do those things.
exactly.
So,
Saying that he spent a month on one case, just to like get a good solid base, that's a beautiful
yeah.
thing. Like it's more needed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of Talk we will be announcing this week. And we appreciate, love you guys all. And we hope we
Oh,
audio.
my
Did
dog.
I lose my audio? Oh no, your dog. We got a
It's
doggy
my
in the
dog.
screen. But anyway, we want to say thank you to everyone who watched and who's supporting us, and we will see you next week. Bye guys.
Bye.